What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning into TBM and spending your Black Friday with me. If you consider it a holiday, hopefully you're out there crunching numbers, not shopping. Save your money. Bet on football. Okay, we've been running really hot here on the channel. We hit a lot of our bets yesterday within the NFL slate. All the money line favorites came home. There was actually a little avenue where I took a little in-game, 5-6 minutes left to go in Detroit. Played a little plus 1,050 on overtime being a potential outcome. And what happened there within Matt Eberflus and the Chicago Bears is a fireable offense, just to put it bluntly. So all the Bears fans out there and Bears bettors, my condolences, and it's something where that one stung, but you got to have a short-term memory. We rebounded very nicely within the Giants-Cowboys game. That was one of my favorite plays of the day, taking the Cowboys in the over, as well as same thing with the Green Bay-Miami game. We were on the over and the Packers there. Packers money line was one of my favorite bets of the day. Betting Tua against the cold, and it was something where I told you guys in my video yesterday, we stayed away from the Detroit numbers. You look at their Thanksgiving record straight up, especially against the Bears, losing a lot of Thanksgiving contests in a row. 3 of them came to the Bears, so not going to lay double digits there. And despite the trend where double digits favorites being favored on Thanksgiving have cashed pretty much almost 90%. Okay, so we're going to talk about today. It's a great game. I don't quite frankly love the side, but I do think I'm on the right side, and I'm going to share with you guys the props that I do favor in this matchup. We're going to dive into it, talk some bets, and I will give you guys kind of 6 props and 7 bets in total where I do like the Chiefs quite a bit. And I'll tell you guys why here in this video. All right, so let's get into it. If you are new to the channel, thank you all for tuning in. It's a great time to subscribe down below. All it is a free way to let YouTube know that you like what I'm talking about, and it's also a way to keep you informed with my best bets of each and every day that we do put stuff out here on the channel. Like I said, guys, my college football picks are up and at 'em. We have been absolutely crushing. We were on Tulane plus, not Tulane, Memphis plus 14, way too many points. Tulane's a little bit overvalued. Memphis is undervalued. That was pretty much a layup that was never really in question the whole evening. And there's quite a few games I do like, rivalry week within college football, so make sure you check out that video. It will be linked at the end of this one, so hop on over there and give it a look, okay? Let's get into it, though. Also, follow me on X, and I do want to thank all of my channel members that are members. It's $9.99 a month. Picks are free, but that's a great way to give back and support me here on YouTube. It's a great way for me to connect to. Gives you exclusive access to me on the Discord, where I will respond to your messages with priority. And also, it's a great way for me to single you guys out too in live streams and what we're doing here right now, because I really do appreciate your support. So happy Thanksgiving to all my channel members, and thank you once more. Okay, let's get into the picks. We're going to use Outlier to break down this game. Let's first off look into some of the numbers here. In terms of the bottom right of your screen, I'm going to try to get my head out of the way so you guys can see what I'm talking about. We have the overwhelmingly amount of the money and the public bets on the Chiefs, okay? Also, there's a little bit of a betting discrepancy within the under, which I could see that. Cold weather in Arrowhead, a little bit windy. It's going to be nasty, and I do kind of like the Chiefs in that regard. West goes east. I don't think that we're going to use that past data point. If you want to look at kind of how the Raiders have been playing the Chiefs, this has been a nasty kind of game. A little AFC West action that you do see the Raiders cover in this spot quite a bit. Even, I believe it was actually played on Thanksgiving, where the Chiefs had like a 14 or 17 point lead, and then it almost losing to the Raiders in that spot. And I think, believe it or not, it was Aiden O'Connell at the helm for the Raiders. So Desmond Ridder has been benched, backup quarterback to Aiden O'Connell. I do like the fact this is on Friday and not Thursday. I think it benefits the Chiefs in that regard. And yes, last week, the last game that they did play against the Carolina Panthers, that was their wake-up call, okay? Now the Chiefs 10-1 on the season. I saw Andy Reid's face on the sidelines after they won, after Mahomes pulled off those heroics, got that scramble down the sideline, leading up to a kick where, we still have still have Harrison Butker inactive. I believe he may be kicking today. I'm not sure, but it does not matter. I like the backup even actually a little bit more so than Butker. Butker's been a little bit inconsistent, but he's still enough to get a job done for the Chiefs. So in terms of special teams, it's going to be something where I do look into Carlson. Carlson over 1.5 field goals is a best bet in terms of props that I do like. I'll give that one out first and we'll get that one out of the way. But let's talk about the game. All right, so the Chiefs are heavy money line favorites. This number has been oscillating from minus 12.5 up to minus 14, but we're kind of settled on 13, and that's where I find my best bet. The Chiefs have never covered. They're not a good cover team, double digits. They have been covering, but they have been hitting a wall, and now the Chiefs come into this spot 4-6 ATS going against the Raiders, 4-7 ATS. The total has dropped from 46 to 42.5. So the best part of the number is seemingly gone. If you were an under better, don't chase a number. 42.5 is kind of low. Might be a buy low spot on the over for me personally, especially with a big spread at 13. I think Steve Spagnuolo and company are really going to have his guys ready to play. I don't think there's going to be any Thanksgiving rust. I think that last week is the turning point for the Chiefs, okay? This is a get-right game, a good spot for the Chiefs. They get a crippled Raiders team, and they want to send a message. They're the only game going today. They're prime time. I think the Chiefs really assert themselves. Patrick Mahomes, by the numbers, has not been living up to his expectations, right? His completion percentage is down. He has been running the football a little bit more, so receivers have not been getting open. He's still trying to vibe with the loss of what they've had, in their receiving core. But DeAndre Hopkins has really kind of filled the void there, and that's going to lead me to one of my next bets that we are going to talk about as we get into the player props, right? So I do like the Chiefs minus 13. It's something where it's too easy to take the Raiders with all these points. I think this is something where you look into this where Patrick Mahomes has to get right here, okay? I think it's something where if the Chiefs get up 2-3 scores, I think all we need is a field goal, maybe 2 field goals to seal the deal, where we do look for the narrative where I think the Chiefs defense does prevail, and I think they're going to separate themselves in the second half, right? The Raiders have always been a second half backdoor cover team, but I think this is just a horrible spot. You get the Kansas City fans fired up, probably nursing hangovers from Thanksgiving, ready to roll. They will be loud, they will be raucous, and they know that they're a primetime game. All eyes on the Chiefs. So give me the Chiefs minus 13. It's not a play that I love, but if you are looking to bet this side, it's definitely the way that I would go. I think it's the clear-cut side to be on. A lot of people probably would disagree. Chiefs are going to be a public play. The sharper play probably is the Raiders, but anytime I can take Steve Spagnuolo against Aiden O'Connell, I got to roll the dice on this one. I think the Chiefs win with margin. And one other kind of storyline is Isaiah Pacheco coming back into action. So we are going to fade the Chiefs running backs. Don't know what that backfield is going to look like. I don't know if Pacheco is going to get 20 carries or if he's going to get 5. But if he does get anything more than 1 carry, that's 1 less or more carry away from Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt has been very serviceable, okay? Outstanding running back. We know his story, returning home to Kansas City. That was a great signing for him. He runs hard. It's going to be really hard to bring down in this weather. Isaiah Pacheco does lead the NFL when healthy in yards after contact as a running back. Pretty much he's at the top of that ranking board. So I do see Isaiah Pacheco. If he is healthy, this would be a great spot where they run, maybe drain the clock. But for me and my money, this is going to be a Kelce game, okay? And that's what we're going to get into. Let's talk props. I want to tell you guys where I'm going to be at as we look into the player props. And we are going to start right here with receptions because I think that's where I'm going to be attacking this game. The game script sets up for all of that to happen, right? The Chiefs want to really get their passing game back into action. This is a great team to do so against. Think of it like a tune-up game, right? They want to start clicking in this back half of the season as they push towards the playoffs. They want to get their offense right. So yeah, in a normal circumstance, cold weather, we're going to run the hell out of the football. We're going to control the line of scrimmage. We're going to play great defense, great special teams, and we're just going to win the game. We're going to go home and focus on next week. I don't think it's going to be the case here. I think the Chiefs want to really get in a groove, and I think this is a great spot to do so, albeit divisional dogs have been covering a lot, but I do think this is a spot where I don't think that the Raiders are going to be able to contest with what the Chiefs are looking to do here on this Friday. So one angle that we could go down is Noah Gray caught 2 touchdowns last week, so he has been kind of surging in that category, but I don't think it's specific to Noah Gray, okay? And I don't think that the Raiders have the personnel to kind of allow themselves to double down on Kelce, take him out of the game. It's a Kelce game for me, okay? And I don't call that too often. I know it's kind of his worst year as a pro outside of his rookie season, but I am going to look into kind of Kelce in terms of 3 props for this game, okay? And you want to do a same-game parlay? Fine, go for it, okay? One quick thing, though, about Noah Gray, I would be taking the over 1.5, but that is something where this number now is out of betting reach. It used to be 1.5 at even money, minus 110, but now it's at 2.5 at minus 114, so I'm going to stay away from that, okay? But let's stick on Kelce for a minute. We are going to take the over 5.5 receptions at minus 145. That is one of my favorite bets of the day. Pretty much a lock in my opinion. He's going to get 5 grabs. He's cashed this in 60% of his last 10. And if we do look into the narrative where you exclude those 2 games of that 10, he has hit this in 6 of his last 8. So great history going over, getting 6 receptions or more. And if he does that, right, the receiving yards will probably be there as well. But I think it's something where we look into longest reception, okay, that's kind of where I'm going to be at for Travis Kelce. Over 18.5 yards for longest reception. I'm going to pull up the numbers here for you guys. He's hit this at 60% clip. Like I said, guys, those games against Cincinnati and Atlanta back early in the season, the Chiefs weren't clicking on all cylinders. So I think that for my money, we exclude those. He's hit this in 6 of his last 8. An incredible amount of confidence in this bet where he has gotten 27, 22, 20, 25. So when he does hit this, it is usually by margin. And we do see a cold weather game where, you know, quite frankly, nobody wants to tackle a big tight end going over the middle. So it's a lot easier to get that streaking route that you do get 20 yards plus down the field. So I do like Kelce in this game where we do see this happen, where he gets a grab 20 or more. I feel comfortable taking that up to. Okay. Something about the tight ends here I want to talk about. Okay. And I am going to get in this with the next pick here because we are going to take Kelce anytime touchdown. All right. I know he only has 2 touchdowns in 2024, but it's something where let's turn back the clocks a little bit. Look at 2023, guys. I know he went on a little bit of a lull where he was inactive, I believe, but it's pretty much a greater than 50% betting split. Now, if we look at the Raiders here guarding the tight end position, tight end touchdowns allowed, okay? You can look at this, guys. 30th in the NFL, giving up. I know it's only a 0.6 value, but almost dead last in touchdowns given up versus tight ends. So this is one of my favorite bets of the day. Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown, plus 130. We get it at plus money. You got to love it. That's where we're going to be at. I do see the avenue where Noah Gray caught 2 grabs last week. I don't think that Mahomes is a kind of a favorite. He doesn't play favorites, but Kelce is his favorite. So I do think that, you know, maybe he shares the love a little bit, distributes the ball to Kelce more so than he did Gray last week. And I think that that's an avenue where I do look for the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs here. If we talk about it against Carolina, you could see them put up 30 points, and Kelce did not get a touchdown grab. Noah Gray had 2. And you can see right now Carolina ranked 32nd in touchdowns allowed, and that's kind of where we have a similar storyline here. So love me some tight end touchdowns against the Raiders. So give me Travis Kelce to find the end zone, okay? So we talked about the over 5.5 receptions, the over longest reception for 18.5, and the Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. And that's pretty much it in terms of the Kansas City passing game, but there is one other area I do want to kind of get into, and that is going to be DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, so DeAndre Hopkins is where we're going to look into 3.5 receptions at minus 110. Okay, it's hit at a 50% clip, but we have to look into the games that he's actually played with Kansas City. Okay, this is basically hit at 3 of his last 5. The first game against the Raiders that they played back on the 27th of October. That was his debut. He had 2 grabs, and in terms of targets, okay, you could see kind of where we were at within that, the target share that he had against the Raiders. Okay, he had 3 targets, 2 receptions. His targets have immensely improved, 9, 5, 4, and 6. So he's going to use those big old hands, and he's going to get some grabs. So as long as he gets 6 targets, I'm very comfortable with DeAndre Hopkins getting 4 and he's done this pretty much where he's averaged 5 receptions per game in the last 10 games. So I do like DeAndre Hopkins over 4.5 or over 3.5 grabs at minus 110 quite a bit. Okay. Now let's get to the Raiders side of the argument, because I do think that the game script will allow for the Raiders to be in comeback mode. Like I said, guys, I'm fading the running backs for all that reasoning. Okay. Kansas City with Pacheco coming back into the mix, and the Raiders are going to be having to throw the hell out of the football to what looks to be the game script that I'm predicting, where Kansas City is going to come out to a early lead and the Raiders are going to be in catch-up mode, okay? So let's look into Jakobi Meyers. I'm not going to get him in terms of the receptions, okay, because I do like the avenue within a player like him that he catches one big one, okay? One or two big ones, but I am going to be betting over 49.5 receiving yards, okay? In a comeback script, Myers is the guy that I think Aiden O'Connell will target, so I'm taking over 49.5 receiving yards at minus 110. Great for a parlay builder. If you want to just get close to $2, that's kind of how I do it. If you take advantage of these boosts that they're offered, FanDuel, Fanatics, any DraftKings, any boost you can get, I look to kind of put together same game parlay legs around minus $2 on bets that I think can hit naturally, and taking Jakobi Meyers over 39.5 would be one of those legs for that mix. But you can see this here in his last 5 games. He had an outlier against Miami. That's kind of a stinker where we look into this as he only had 28, but that's kind of where Miami does really well against the pass. But in games that you look into, even the Denver Broncos, right? 10th in passing yards allowed. He had 121 yards last game. And the game before that against Cincinnati, great matchup. He had 105. So it's one that I like quite a bit. Jakobi Meyers going over 49.5 receiving yards, okay? And then the last one potentially is the next Kelce, okay? And I know that's kind of blasphemy for most, but we are going to look into Brock Bowers, okay? And this number has shot up quite a bit. I did take this at a really low number, but right now it's at 63.5. So this number has got skewed a little bit, but you could find 60, actually the best number available if we look at here at BetMGM, 59.5 for Bowers. Okay, so 59.5 for Bowers. We will go over that. Let's look at it in terms of this. This is where you have to really make a decision, because I do think Bowers gets a lot of grabs. Kansas City, middle of the pack, guarding the tight end. I don't love this one, but I do trust Bowers in a comeback script, okay? So for you and you guys in your decision process, you have to ask yourself, do you like Bowers receiving or receptions? Tight ends, I usually go with receptions personally, because they always have the kind of, that flat kind of screen out to the, the far side of the field. They do get that quite a bit. Tight end breaks, that always happens, especially with both of these teams where they do catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage. But I do think this is something where you have to ask yourself, and I'm kind of torn on it, so it's not an official play. It's just a bet that I do like. But I will look into kind of how we look at the Raiders. They're going to be positive. He gets 25.8% of the target share. Him and Jakobi Meyers leading the charge. And he has hit over 59.5 receiving yards in 80% of his last games on the road, averaging 91.8, okay? So that's kind of where I'm at. The target share you can look at, he has gotten in his last 5 games. I mean, he's almost double digits targets on average, 9.1 targets. He had 16 and 10 in his last 2 respectively. And that's kind of where you're looking to kind of the receptions versus targets, 13, 4, 5, 5, 10, 9. Okay, so if we want to kind of dabble into the receptions versus the yardages, okay, that's where you're going to see it right here at 6.5 at plus money. If we look into alternate numbers, 5.5 at minus 137. If you can find this, and this probably is going to be at Prize Picks, at minus 137, so that's going to be unbettable. But if you do want to dabble into the over 6.5 at plus money, I don't hate it. I just think that Brock Bowers over his receiving yards is a better play, and that's where I'm going to be at in terms of a lean, all right? So that about wrap it up. That is my breakdown of the Chiefs game. I think that they get right tonight or today, 3 o'clock kickoff here on the East Coast. These are my final bets, okay? Kansas City, minus 13. Kelce, anytime touchdown. Kelce, over 5.5 receptions. Kelce, over 18.5 longest reception. Carlson, over 1.5 field goals. Hopkins, 3.5 receptions. Jakobi Meyers, over 49.5 receiving yards. And I do have a lean towards Bowers, over 59.5 in terms of reception yards, okay? One little quick nugget. Don't fall into that trap. You see my videos. You see my picks. You see my best bets and the angles that I'm approaching. Don't look at this and just say to yourself, okay, well, Mark likes these 8 props. Think about it in terms of the whole game script, okay? You can't have all 6 of these props come out necessarily. The odds of that happening are very low. The Kelce stuff, sure, that can all be put together. That all kind of goes hand in hand. But don't fall in that trap where, you take Meyers to get 50, you take Bowers to get 60, and the next thing you know, you're basically betting on Aiden O'Connell having 250 yards or more. So you're almost better off taking Aiden O'Connell going over his passing yards than taking the Meyers and the Bowers over in their respective passing yards props, receiving yard props. Okay, just a little note on that. Good luck with your picks today. If you haven't done so, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Give me a follow on X. If you want to become a channel member and give back to the channel, the link down below for that as well. There is a free Discord as well. You guys can hop on. And like I said, guys, we're going to be kicking it all weekend. A lot of college football action tomorrow, today. It's going to be a fun one leading up till NFL Sunday as we start getting ready. Can't believe I'm saying this, but it's almost playoff time. So it's going to be a fun one. Let's go cash some tickets. Enjoy the rest of the Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll see you guys all in the next video. Cheers.